Hi students, this is Miss Wendt, and I want to go over the notes for Chapter 4, Section 2 with you. And like we said before, you should be writing these in your notebook, not just vaguely listening, but actually physically writing them down on paper, please. So if you need to pause the video and grab a notebook, that would be great. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, so what this section is all about is how energy gets from one animal to another in an ecosystem. Okay, so in the first section of Chapter 4, we talked about how animals eat food to get energy and plants use sunshine to get energy. Well, we want to kind of see how that energy moves from one thing to the next. And one of the easiest ways to do that is this thing here called a food chain. Okay, a food chain is a series of organisms. So a series means like one right after the other in order. So a series of organisms that show energy being transferred. So what this means is this grass here has a whole bunch of energy stored up inside. Okay, so when the grass gets the sunlight energy, he makes a whole bunch of sugar, and the sugar is sitting in the leaves and the roots and the flowers and stuff. Well, this grasshopper needs some energy. So the grasshopper's going to eat some grass. And the energy goes from the grass to the grasshopper. And you notice how the arrow is pointing? The arrow points to where the energy is going. So the energy started in the grass, really started in the sun, but the energy in the grass goes to the grasshopper. Now, this grasshopper might be eaten by a mouse. So then that energy from the grasshopper is going into the mouse, and then that mouse gets picked up by an owl, and all the mouse's energy goes into the owl. Okay, so it's basically a line of what eats what. Okay, so the grass is eaten by the grasshopper is eaten by the mouse is eaten by the owl. And the arrows show where the energy starts, where the energy is going. That's the important thing. Okay, now when you do pictures and stuff of food chains, you do not have to draw out the animals. You can just write the words. You could just go grass, arrow to grasshopper, arrow to mouse, arrow to owl. You don't have to draw the pictures. If you are a great artist, feel free. Mrs. Wendt is not a great artist, so I steal clip art instead. All right, so this is a simple food chain, but in real life, it's not really this simple. An owl doesn't just eat mice. An owl's also going to eat squirrels and gerbils and a whole bunch of other stuff too. So to show that more realistically, we're going to use something called a food web. Okay, so a food web, kind of like a spider web where there's lots of connections. It's a series of organisms that show energy being transferred in many different food chains together. So let me show you what I mean by many food chains. So here's some carrots. The carrot energy goes to the rabbit energy goes to the fox. That's a food chain. Carrot, rabbit, fox. A different food chain would be the grain. Energy goes to the grasshopper. Energy goes to the bird. Energy in the bird goes to the fox. That's another food chain. Grain, grasshopper, bird, fox. We could also say grass, rabbit, fox. We could say grass, grasshopper, owl. Right? So you could count up how many food chains are in there. And this is really what it looks like in a forest. If you're an animal wandering around and you're hungry, you maybe have lots of options. Even in your own house, if you open the refrigerator up, you probably have lots of options, right? Okay, so food webs are more realistic than food chains because many creatures eat more than one thing, and that's really important. Okay, if for some reason there was a disease and all the bunny rabbits died, well, the fox can still eat a bird for food, so the fox can survive. Okay, if an animal only eats one kind of food and something happens to that food, the animal may go extinct. So it's more healthy for animals to eat a wide variety of stuff. Now, once again, you don't have to draw the pictures. Here's another example of a food web that's perfectly acceptable, just using the words and the arrows. Okay, so grass is being eaten by a rabbit, and the rabbit is being eaten by a fox. Or maybe the rabbit's eaten by a snake. Whatever. Okay, so these are different types of food webs here. Now, one thing that we have learned is you guys learned a bunch of vocab words in the last set of notes. And we want to make sure you can use those vocab words in these pictures too. Okay, so if I look at this food chain here, or I'm sorry, food web, I want to be able to say, hey, this grass is my producer. And all these other guys are consumers because they're animals. So I want to be able to label what's a producer, what's a consumer. I know that this grasshopper here eats grass. He is an herbivore because he's eating grass. Rabbits and mice are herbivores too. Now this food chain is a little tricky because the frog's the same color as the rabbits and the mice, but the frog's eating a grasshopper. That frog is not an herbivore, he's a carnivore because grasshoppers would be meat. And then our foxes and snakes up here would be carnivores too. So you're going to be doing an assignment. We're going to practice drawing food chains and food webs and labeling using those vocab words that you got from the first part of chapter 4. Okay. Now, one more quick step here. There's another kind of food chain called an ecological pyramid, or sometimes we call it an energy pyramid. And it's just a food chain. So if you look here, we have trees, and they're eaten by the rats. The energy goes to the rat. Then the rats are eaten by a rattlesnake. Rattlesnakes are eaten by the owls. So it's just a food chain going from top to bottom. But it gives us a little extra info as to how much energy each level has. And there's a couple ways to show the energy. In this case, we might just be showing how numbers of organisms. So it might take 10,000 trees to make enough food to feed 1,000 kangaroo rats. And it might take 1,000 kangaroo rats to feed 100 rattlesnakes, and this is only enough food to feed 10 barn owls. Okay? Because when a kangaroo rat eats some of the energy from the tree, this rat's going to use some of the energy to grow and to digest food and to stay warm and to walk and to run. So whatever energy this rat gets from the tree, it uses a lot of it up. There's not very much energy left in the rat to go to the rattlesnake. So one rat isn't enough energy for a rattlesnake. He's going to have to eat like 10 of them. Okay? So it kind of shows that to have a balanced ecosystem, you need lots and lots of producers to support the consumers above. And you need lots of little first level consumers here to support the ones on top of them. Okay, so this is what the energy pyramid here is talking about. Now, the handwriting here, this is going to be pretty ugly, I think, but I'm going to try to grab a pen tool here. All right, so in a pyramid, the bottom biggest level is always going to be my producer. Producer. So we're just going to say that for short. Now, above the producer, all of these guys here are going to be consumers, right? Because they all have to eat food. Well, there's more than one level of consumers. And actually, the lowest level we could say is the first level. And we can say this guy is the second level. And this guy up here is the third level. Okay, now instead of using the numbers, there's kind of another system we could use. First, another way to say first level is going to be the word primary. Primary. So kind of like primary school. Prairie Elementary is the first kind of school you go to. And the second level would be secondary. So that one makes a little sense. Secondary. And again, I apologize for the messy handwriting. It's a problem that is getting fixed, but I probably won't redo the video. And the top level, the third one, the word for third is tertiary. So I think a try or something like that for tertiary, and for some reason my brain can't spell that right now, and that's okay. So you might see any of those things as well. So the different levels of animals eating that plant, you can label as first, second, and third. Okay, so you're going to see some examples of this in a video clip that you have to watch. And then you're going to see some more examples in your assignment. So in Schoology, there's an assignment, and it's kind of got a long name. It's called Food Chains, Food Webs, and Energy Pyramid Worksheet. It's not a long assignment. Remember, you don't have to draw pictures for your food chains. You can just use words if you want to. That's fine. And I did make a help video to help you get started and fill in some blanks. So if you're stuck and you're just like, I don't know what to do, watch the help video. And that has me doing some of the worksheet with you. So you can kind of follow along and fill in answers. And then when you're ready, you can stop the video and just finish it on your own. So it's going to have you make a food chain and a food web and an energy pyramid, answer a few questions about it, and then also do a little vocabulary review as well. Okay, so that's what you've got going on for today. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know, guys. This ends your notes for Chapter 4, Section 2. Have a great day.